He places the component on the table. The sound it makes is quiet, but it silences the entire room. It is a sound of finality, a sound of truth. Stay with me to the end to discover how a single piece of machined steel can change everything. If this story finds you, drop the word "stay" in the comments so I know you were here. And please, subscribe. The morning air is cold and carries the scent of steel and old coffee. Elias Vance feels the familiar texture of the micrometer in his hand. It is cool and heavy, a tool of precision. He makes an adjustment, a quarter turn so small it is almost imperceptible. His workshop is a sanctuary of order. Tools hang on pegboards in neat silhouettes. Blueprints lie flat under weighted bars. The concrete floor is swept clean, though faint. Dark stains map years of work. He does not rush. He never rushes. From the small office attached to the workshop, a sound emerges, the soft scratching of a crayon on paper. "Daddy!" The voice is small but clear. "I'm here, Maya," he answers, his own voice low and even. He does not look up from his work. He does not need to. Maya is 6 years old. She has his dark hair and her mother's serious eyes. She spends her afternoons here after school, drawing at a small wooden desk he built for her. It is their routine. It is their world. He measures the piston head again. The reading is perfect. He sets the micrometer down in its velvet-lined case with a soft click. The air smells of metal shavings and the faint, sweet perfume of the cutting oil he uses. It is the smell of his life. He picks up a clean rag and wipes his hands, the grease coming away from the calluses and creases of his knuckles. He walks over to the office doorway and leans against the frame. Maya is drawing a bird with an orange crayon. Its wings are wide and uneven. "It's a phoenix," she says without looking up. "A phoenix," he repeats, a small smile touching his lips for the first time that day. "That's a powerful bird." "It comes back from the fire," she informs him, pressing down hard with the crayon. "Even when it's all gone." He watches her for another moment. He sees the fierce concentration in her face. He sees the strength in her small hands. This is why he does what he does. This is who he protects. The phone on his workbench rings. It is an old rotary phone, black and heavy. Its ring is a jarring, metallic clang that cuts through the quiet hum of the workshop. He answers it. He listens. He says very little. "Yes, I understand." "Tonight?" He hangs up the phone. The silence returns, heavier than before. "Do you have to go out?" Maya asks. She has stopped drawing. She is looking at him now, her crayon held still above the paper. "Yes," he says. "A meeting." He does not tell her it is a gala for the company his father and hers had helped build from the ground up. He does not tell her he was summoned, not invited. He does not tell her he feels a cold knot tightening in his stomach. He simply goes to the small locker in the corner and pulls out a clean, dark suit. It feels like a costume. Alina Rostova stands before the full-length mirror in her penthouse apartment. The city sprawls below her, a grid of glittering lights. The black dress is severe, elegant, and expensive. It is armor. She has been CEO for 6 months. 6 months since her father's funeral. 6 months of long days and longer nights, of learning a language of spreadsheets and profit margins that still feels foreign on her tongue. Her father built Rostova Industries into a titan. He was a man of steel and vision. She feels the weight of his legacy like a physical pressure on her shoulders. She cannot fail. She will not fail. Marcus Thorne, her chief operating officer, stands in the doorway of her study. He holds 2 glasses of champagne. He has been her guide, her father's most trusted advisor. He is the one who helps her make sense of the corporate labyrinth. "You look magnificent, Alina," he says, his voice smooth as silk. "A true leader." He hands her a glass. The crystal is cold against her fingers. "Tonight is important," he continues. "We're announcing the Meridian Project's final phase. It will secure our position for the next decade." She nods, taking a small sip. The champagne is dry and sharp. "And the personnel issue? The one we discussed?" Marcus's expression becomes one of carefully calibrated sympathy. "Elias Vance. Yes, it's a shame. He was once a brilliant engineer. Your father was very fond of him. But he's become a relic, an anchor holding back progress. He refuses to sign off on the Meridian schematics. Stubborn pride." "You're certain he's the bottleneck?" she asks. The question is a formality. She trusts Marcus. She has to trust someone. Completely. Marcus says, his eyes full of earnest sincerity. "He's stuck in the past, Alina. He can't see the future you are building. Sometimes, to honor a legacy, you have to prune the old branches." She looks out at the city again. Prune the old branches. It sounds clean. It sounds necessary. She does not see the flicker of triumph in Marcus's eyes. She does not hear the lie coiled beneath the smooth surface of his words. She sees only the path forward he has laid out for her. The path to proving she is worthy of her father's name. The gala is a symphony of muted conversations and the clinking of glasses. It is held in the grand atrium of the Rostova Tower, a cathedral of glass and steel. Elias stands near the back, by a potted fern. He does not hold a drink. He does not speak to anyone. He feels out of place, a rough-hewn component in a polished machine. He watches the people, the smiles that do not reach their eyes, the handshakes that last for exactly 2 seconds. He sees her across the room. Alina Rostova. She is surrounded by men in expensive suits. She holds her glass like a scepter. She looks powerful. She looks lost. He remembers a younger version of her, a girl with grease on her cheek, trailing her father through this very building while Elias explained the principles of a differential gear. That girl is gone. Then the speeches begin. Marcus speaks first, his words flowing with practiced ease. He speaks of innovation and the future. He speaks of difficult but necessary changes. Then he introduces Alina. She steps up to the podium. A hush falls over the crowd. Her voice is clear and steady. She speaks of honoring her father's legacy by embracing the future. She announces the final funding for the Meridian Project, and then she looks out over the crowd. Her eyes find his. For a moment, he thinks he sees a flicker of uncertainty, a ghost of the girl with the grease-stained cheek. But it is gone in an instant. "To that end," she says, her voice hardening, "we are also streamlining our development team. Effective immediately, Elias Vance's contract with Rostova Industries is terminated. We thank him for his past service and wish him well." The words hang in the air. A few people turn to look at him. Most do not. It is a small piece of corporate housekeeping, delivered with the cold efficiency of a guillotine. He does not flinch. He does not look away. He holds her gaze across the crowded room. He feels the weight of 100 pairs of eyes, the sting of public dismissal. He feels the betrayal of a legacy he helped to build. He does not shout. He does not protest. He does not offer a single word in his own defense. He simply gives a short, almost imperceptible nod, a gesture of acceptance. Not of defeat, but of a truth she cannot yet see. Then he turns and walks out of the atrium. The glass doors slide shut behind him with a soft hiss, leaving him in the sudden, blessed silence of the empty lobby. The silence in Alina's car is absolute, broken only by the rhythmic sweep of the windshield wipers. Rain streaks across the glass, blurring the city lights into long watercolor strokes. She replays the moment, the dismissal, his reaction. It was not what she expected. She had braced for anger, for a scene, for a bitter argument. She had prepared her counterpoints, her justifications. He had given her none of it. Just that look. A steady, quiet gaze that held no anger. It held something else, something she could not name. It looked like pity. The thought is unsettling. It burrows under her skin. Why would he pity her? She was the one in power. She was the CEO. She had ended his career. He didn't even fight, she says aloud. The words are absorbed by the leather interior. Marcus, sitting beside her in the passenger seat, shifts. Of course not. He knew he was beaten. Men like that, their pride is all they have. When it's broken, they just fold. His explanation sounds logical. It should be satisfying. It is not. It does not match the man in her memory. The man who had patiently explained the physics of talk to a 10-year-old girl. The man her father had called the last true craftsman. Something is wrong. The pieces do not fit. A sudden, violent shudder runs through the car. The engine sputters, coughs, and then dies. The smooth hum of the powerful motor is replaced by an unnerving silence. The lights on the dashboard flicker and go dark. They coast to a stop in the rain-slicked street, the wipers slowing to a halt mid-sweep. "What was that?" Alina asks, her voice sharp with annoyance. Marcus pulls out his phone. "The car is dead. It's a custom build, your father's old pride and joy. The company mechanics won't know where to start. I'll call a tow." "No," Alina says. The word is decisive. This car was her father's. A 1968 Rostova Sentinel, the only one ever made with a prototype engine he designed himself. It is a piece of him. She will not have it hauled away like scrap. There's a workshop a few blocks from here, an independent. I've seen it. She does not say that she knows exactly whose workshop it is. The thought forms itself, unbidden. A strange confluence of events, a coincidence, or something else. Elias is cleaning his tools when the knock comes. It is a sharp, insistent rap on the metal roll-up door of the workshop. Maya is asleep on the small cot in his office, a worn blanket pulled up to her chin. He moves quietly so as not to wake her. He opens the small side door and sees them. Alina Rostova, her perfect hair damp with rain, her expensive coat looking thin and inadequate against the night chill, and Marcus Thorne holding a small umbrella that does little to shield either of them, his face a mask of irritation. "Our car broke down," Alina says. There is no preamble. It's just up the street. A 68 Sentinel. Elias looks past her at the dark shape of the car, its familiar, elegant lines just visible under a street lamp. He knows that car. He helped her father rebuild the engine himself, piece by piece, 15 years ago. He does not say this. He does not mention that she fired him 3 hours ago. He does not point out the irony. "I'll take a look," he says. He pulls on a heavy jacket and grabs a toolbox. The familiar weight is comforting. He walks to the car, Alina and Marcus following a few steps behind. The rain is colder now, seeping into his collar. He opens the hood. A plume of steam rises into the night air. The engine compartment is a work of art, a custom fabrication known only to him and her father. He sees the problem in less than 10 seconds. A clean break in the fuel line, right at the coupling to the injection manifold. A very specific, very unusual point of failure. "It can be fixed," he says, "but I'll need to machine a new coupling. It will take some time." "We don't have time," Marcus snaps. "Just call a tow truck." No, Alina says again, her voice firm. She's looking at Elias. Fix it. It is an order, but her eyes ask a question. He nods once. He begins the slow work of pushing the heavy car down the street and into the warm, dry light of his workshop. Inside, the smell of oil and warm metal replaces the damp chill of the rain. Marcus paces impatiently, talking in low, urgent tones on his phone. Alina stands near the workbench, watching Elias. She does not move. She just watches. He works with an economy of motion. There is no wasted effort. Every movement is precise, deliberate. He removes the broken part, his fingers moving with an ingrained familiarity. He takes measurements. He selects a small block of stainless steel from a rack. He sets up the lathe. The machine hums to life. The sound fills the workshop. A small noise comes from the office. Maya stands in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. She is holding her drawing of the phoenix. She sees Alina standing there. She is not shy. She walks over to her. "Hello," Maya says. "Hello," Alina replies, her voice softer than Elias has ever heard it. She crouches down to be at the child's level. "My daddy is fixing your car," Maya states. "He can fix anything." "I see that," Alina says. Her gaze flickers towards Elias, then back to the small, serious face in front of her. "The car was yelling," Maya says, her brow furrowed. "It made a loud noise." Alina manages a small smile. "Yes, it did." "Daddy says old things just need patience," Maya says, offering her profound 6-year-old wisdom. "Not yelling." The words land in the quiet space of the workshop. They are simple. They are true. And for Alina, they feel like a key turning in a lock she did not know was there. Patience, not yelling. Pruning the old branches. The contrast is stark. She looks at Elias, his back to her, shavings of bright steel peeling away from the spinning block in the lathe. She looks at the quiet competence, the steady hands. She looks at the small child beside her, a perfect mirror of his father's calm integrity. For the first time in 6 months, a seed of doubt begins to sprout in the barren ground of her certainty. A dangerous, terrifying, necessary doubt. Marcus was wrong. This man did not fold. He endured. The new coupling fits perfectly. Elias tightens the final bolt, wipes away a smear of fuel, and closes the hood of the Sentinel. The sound is a solid, satisfying thud. "Try it now," he says to Alina. She gets into the driver's seat. The leather is cool. She turns the key. The engine turns over instantly, settling into a low, powerful purr. The sound is smooth, healthy, perfect. She gets out of the car. Marcus is already by the door, impatient to leave. "How much do we owe you?" Alina asks. She reaches for her purse. Elias is wiping his hands on a rag. He looks at her. He looks at the money she is about to offer. "There's no charge," he says. Marcus scoffs. "Don't be ridiculous. We pay for services rendered." Elias's eyes do not leave Alina's. "I didn't do it for you," he says, his voice quiet but carrying the weight of the cavernous workshop. "I did it for the car, and for him. For him, for her father." The words hang between them, an accusation and a memorial all at once. Alina does not know what to say. The corporate scripts, the boardroom tactics, they are useless here. She feels stripped bare, exposed. She nods. It is all she can manage. She turns and walks out into the rain, which has softened to a fine drizzle. The engine of her father's car hums with a life that feels like a rebuke. The next day, Alina sits in her father's office. It is her office now, but she has not changed a thing. The massive oak desk, the leather-bound books, the faint scent of cigars and old paper. It feels like a museum. She cannot shake the feeling of unease. Maya's words echo in her mind. Old things just need patience, not yelling. She pulls up the files for the Meridian project, the ones Marcus prepared. Clean, efficient, profitable. Everything a CEO should want. She looks at the projected timelines, the cost-benefit analysis. On a whim, she opens her father's private server. It is a digital archive he maintained himself, a labyrinth of old projects and forgotten ideas. She types in a keyword, engine. Hundreds of files appear. Most are standard production models, but one folder is different. It is titled simply Nightingale. She opens it. It is password protected. She tries his birthday, his anniversary. Nothing. She thinks for a moment. What did he value? Integrity. Craftsmanship. She types a name. Elias Vance. The folder opens. Inside is a single encrypted design file and a series of budget reports. She compares the Nightingale budget with the Meridian budget. The numbers are vastly different, but some of the line items, the suppliers for raw materials, the specific alloys, they are identical. Marcus has been cannibalizing the budget for this secret project to fund Meridian. A cold dread begins to creep up her spine. What was Nightingale? And why was Elias's name the key? She needs to talk to someone who knew her father, someone who knew the old ways of the company. A name comes to her. Arthur Hendrickson, her father's first chief engineer. Retired for 5 years, but sharp as a tack. She finds his number. She makes the call. Arthur lives in a small, tidy house by the sea. The air smells of salt and wet sand. He is a man in his late 70s, with kind eyes and hands that are still strong. He greets Alina at the door with a polite but cautious smile. He leads her to a sunroom overlooking the grey, churning water. "It's been a long time, Alina," he says, pouring her a cup of tea. "It has, Arthur. I need your help. I need to understand something about my father." She tells him about Elias Vance, about the firing, about the car. She does not mention the Nightingale file. She is not sure who to trust anymore. Arthur listens patiently, his hands wrapped around his warm mug. When she's finished, he is silent for a long time. He watches the waves crash against the shore. "Your father was a brilliant man," Arthur says finally. "A visionary. But he was not a craftsman. He had the ideas, the grand designs, but he needed someone to make them real. Someone who understood the soul of the metal. That was Elias." He takes a sip of his tea. "Elias's father worked for your grandfather. Elias grew up in the Rostova workshops. He has Rostova oil in his veins. Your father saw his talent early on. He trusted him. Completely." "Marcus told me he was holding the company back," Alina says, the words tasting like ash in her mouth. Arthur gives a short, bitter laugh. Marcus Thorne knows how to read a spreadsheet. He doesn't know the difference between chrome molybdenum steel and scrap iron. Your father trusted Elias Vance with his life, and with his legacy. The word hangs in the air. Legacy. The very thing she is trying to protect. The very thing she may be destroying. "What legacy, Arthur?" she asks, her voice barely a whisper. "What was he working on?" Arthur looks at her, his gaze sharp and appraising. He is testing her. He is deciding if she is her father's daughter. "If your father wanted you to know, he would have left you a way to find out," he says. "He was a man of puzzles and tests. He believed a person had to earn knowledge, not just be given it." It is not the answer she wanted, but it is the answer she needs. It is a clue. She drives back to the city, her mind racing. He would have left you a way to find out. She needs to see him again. She needs to see Elias in his own world, not as a problem to be solved, but as a man to be understood. She finds an excuse, a follow-up check on the car. It is a flimsy pretext, but it is enough. She arrives at the workshop in the late afternoon. The large door is open to the mild air. From inside, she hears the gentle sound of a story being read aloud. She stops at the doorway, unseen. Elias is sitting on a low stool. Maya is on his lap. He's holding a worn copy of a children's book. His voice is calm and gentle as he reads about a brave little tugboat. The light from the setting sun streams through the high windows, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. It is a scene of profound peace. She watches him. She sees the way his large, calloused hand rests on his daughter's back. She sees the patient way he answers her questions about the story. This is not the obsolete anchor Marcus described. This is a man of deep, quiet strength, a man of integrity, a man raising his daughter alone in a world he has built with his own 2 hands. He looks up then, as if sensing her presence. Their eyes meet across the workshop. He does not seem surprised to see her. He simply finishes his sentence, closes the book, and places it on the workbench. "I'll be right back, sweet pea," he says to Maya. He walks towards her. He stops a few feet away. He waits for her to speak. "The car is running well," she says. It sounds foolish, inadequate. "It should," he replies. The silence stretches between them. It is not an awkward silence. It is a space filled with unspoken questions. "My father," she begins, then stops. She does not know how to ask. "Arthur said he was a man of puzzles." Elias's expression does not change, but she sees a flicker of understanding in his eyes. "He liked to build things," Elias says. "Boxes, clocks, desks with secret compartments." He does not say more. He does not need to. He has given her the next piece of the puzzle. A desk with secret compartments. Her father's desk. The one she has been sitting at for 6 months, never once thinking to look for what might lie hidden within it. The office is dark when she returns. She doesn't turn on the lights. She runs her hands along the underside of the massive oak desk, feeling for a catch, a seam, a button. For hours she searches. She finds nothing. Frustration builds. She is about to give up when her fingers brush against a small, ornate carving on the front leg of the desk. A carving of a bird, a nightingale. She presses it. There is a soft click. A narrow panel on the side of the desk, perfectly flush with the wood, springs open. Inside is a small steel safe. It has a combination lock. 4 numbers, she thinks. What numbers were important to him? She tries the year the company was founded, the year she was born. Nothing. Then she remembers the engine. The 1968 Sentinel, the prototype. She enters the numbers. 1, 9, 6, 8. The lock clicks open. Her hands are trembling as she opens the heavy steel door. Inside there is only one object, a thick, leather-bound journal. She takes it to the desk and opens it under the dim light of her desk lamp. The first page is in her father's familiar, strong handwriting. "My dearest Alina," it begins. "If you are reading this, it means I am gone, and you have proven yourself clever enough to find it. It also means you are likely facing a challenge, perhaps a crisis of faith in the company or in the people around you. This journal holds the truth about my most important work, my true legacy. It is called Project Nightingale." She reads for hours. The words on the page dismantle her world and rebuild it. She reads about the Nightingale engine, a revolutionary design based on principles of harmonic resonance. It is not just more powerful or more efficient. It is, in her father's words, an engine with a soul. It is meant to last for a century. She reads about Marcus Thorne, about his greed, about how he fought her father for years, trying to push cheaper, disposable technology for short-term profits. She reads about Marcus's systematic attempts to sabotage Nightingale, to bury it under mountains of corporate red tape. And she reads about Elias Vance. Elias is more than an engineer, her father wrote. He is an artist. The only man I trust to bring Nightingale to life. He understands that integrity cannot be mass-produced. He has made me a promise. He will protect the project, even from the company itself if he has to. He will not let it be compromised. He is the guardian of my dream. Page after page reveals the trinity of truths. The depth of Marcus's treachery, the soaring height of her father's vision, and the quiet, profound nobility of Elias's sacrifice. He had allowed his reputation to be destroyed to honor a promise to a dead man, to protect her father's legacy from her. Tears streamed down her face, falling onto the brittle pages. The grief for her father is sharp and new again, but now it is mingled with a profound sense of shame and a fierce, burning anger. She closes the journal. She knows what she has to do. It is nearly dawn when she arrives at his workshop. The lights are on. He is already at work. He sees her pull up. He meets her at the door. She is holding the journal. I found it, she says, her voice thick with emotion. I know everything. He looks at the journal in her hands. He looks at her face, ravaged by a night of tears and revelation. He simply nods, as if he knew this moment would come. He leads her inside to the small office. He makes her a cup of coffee, strong and black. He sits opposite her at the small wooden desk where Maya draws her pictures. I'm so sorry, Elias, she says. The words are a raw wound. I was a fool. I let him manipulate me. I destroyed you. You didn't destroy me, he says, his voice even. You can't destroy something you don't understand. But why? She asks, the question that has haunted her. Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you fight me? He takes a slow sip of his coffee. He looks at the blueprints on the wall, the schematics for the Nightingale engine. Because you didn't know who I was, he explains. And you didn't know who he was. He gestures to Marcus's name in the journal. If I had fought you, it would have become a public battle. Marcus would have used the corporate lawyers, the board. He would have locked the project down, seized the prototypes, and sold the technology to the highest bidder. It would have been destroyed. The only way to protect it was to let him think he had won, to let him think I was gone. His logic is flawless. His sacrifice, immense. He endured the slight in silence to protect the work, to honor his promise. A small figure appears in the doorway. Maya, in her pajamas, hair tousled from sleep. She sees Alina's tear-streaked face. She walks over to the desk. She looks at Alina with her serious eyes. Then she turns and goes to her drawing table. She picks up a piece of paper and brings it back. She holds it out to Alina. It is a drawing of a bird, its wings spread wide. It is colored a vibrant, hopeful blue. It's a nightingale, Maya says softly. Daddy's favorite. It sings when it's dark. Alina takes the drawing from the small hand. The paper is warm. She looks from the child's drawing to the man sitting across from her, the guardian of the dream, the one who sings in the dark. In that moment, a new alliance is forged in the quiet workshop, an alliance built on the wreckage of lies, cemented by the truth in a dead man's journal and the simple wisdom of a child. Marcus has moved up the timeline, Alina says. They are standing over the Nightingale prototype in the center of Elias's workshop. It is 2 days later. He's scheduled an emergency board meeting for Friday. He's pushing for a final vote to scrap all legacy R&D and liquidate the assets. He means to kill Nightingale for good. Then we have until Friday, Elias says. It is not a question. He runs a hand over the cold metal housing of the engine. It is a thing of beauty, a complex assembly of custom-machined parts. But it is incomplete. It has never been run. "The resonance harmonizer is missing," he says, pointing to an empty mounting bracket. "Your father and I designed it, but the alloys required were prohibitive. Marcus cut the funding before I could fabricate it." "Get me the list of materials," Alina says, her voice steel. "I'll handle the funding." What follows is a blur of controlled chaos, a race against an impossible clock. Alina becomes a whirlwind of corporate power. She uses her authority as CEO to divert funds, to expedite purchase orders, to cut through layers of bureaucracy that Marcus had spent years putting in place. She works from a laptop set up on Maya's small desk, her world of finance and logistics colliding with the world of crayons and phoenix drawings. Elias works at the machines. For 72 hours the workshop is filled with the shriek of the lathe, the roar of the forge, the precise hiss of the welder. He does not sleep. He moves with a focused intensity that is both terrifying and beautiful to watch. He is no longer just a craftsman. He is a creator, bringing a magnificent idea into the physical world. They work in a strange, unspoken rhythm. She brings him coffee in the dead of night. He explains the complex physics of the harmonizer, while she tracks a shipment of tungsten wire from a supplier in Germany. They share a pizza standing over the engine block, the conversation shifting seamlessly from metallurgical stress tolerances to Maya's upcoming school play. It is a partnership, a fusion of his quiet, tangible skill and her sharp, strategic command. They are two parts of a whole, completing a circuit her father had designed long ago. On Thursday night, the final component is ready. It is a small, intricate cylinder of woven alloys, glowing with residual heat from the forge. Elias, his face smudged with grease and exhaustion, handles it with the reverence of a priest handling a sacred object. He fits it into place. He connects the wires. He tightens the final bolt. He stands back. "That's it," he says. They look at the engine. It sits on the test stand, silent and expectant. "Will it work?" Alina asks, her voice hushed. "Your father believed it would," Elias answers. He connects the fuel line. He hooks up the starter battery. He looks at Alina. She nods. He presses the ignition switch. For a moment, there is nothing. Then, a low hum begins, a sound that seems to come from the very atoms of the metal. It is not the sound of an engine. It is the sound of a musical instrument. The hum builds, rising in pitch and volume, a clean, pure tone that fills the workshop. There is no vibration, no smoke, just this incredible resonant sound. The nightingale sings. They stand there side by side, listening to the sound of her father's dream come to life. In that moment, they are not a CEO and a mechanic. They are guardians of a legacy, and they are ready for the war to come. The boardroom is on the top floor. The view of the city is panoramic and indifferent. The long, polished table reflects the grim faces of the board members. Marcus Thorne is at the head of the table, looking confident, magnanimous. He believes he has already won. "And so," he concludes, his voice smooth and reasonable, "in the interest of fiscal responsibility and forward-thinking strategy, I move that we formally decommission Project Nightingale and all associated legacy assets. We must focus on the immediate profitability of Meridian." He looks at Alina, seated to his right, a look of pitying condescension, the look of a victor. Alina does not return his gaze. She looks down at her father's journal, which lies on the table in front of her. "Thank you, Marcus," she says, her voice calm and clear. It cuts through the tense silence. A compelling presentation, based, however, on a series of fundamental lies. A murmur runs through the room. Marcus's smile tightens. "Alina, I understand you're under a great deal of stress," he begins. "I have here," she continues, ignoring him, placing a hand on the journal, "my father's private project log. It details not only the revolutionary potential of the Nightingale engine, but also your systematic, multi-year campaign to sabotage it." She opens the journal. She begins to read. She reads her father's words about Marcus's deceit. She presents the financial audits she prepared, showing the embezzled funds, the falsified reports. She lays out the truth, piece by damning piece. Her presentation is methodical, precise, and irrefutable. Marcus's face goes from pale to ashen. He sputters denials, but the evidence is overwhelming. The board members look from him to her, their expressions shifting from skepticism to shock, and then to cold anger. "This is a fabrication," Marcus finally shouts, his composure shattered. "A grieving daughter's fantasy. There is no Nightingale engine. It's a myth, a ghost." As if on cue, the boardroom doors swing open. Elias Vance walks in. He is wearing his simple work clothes. He is calm, centered. He holds a single gleaming component in his hand, the resonance harmonizer. He walks to the table. He does not look at Marcus. He does not look at the board. He looks only at Alina, a look of shared purpose. He places the component on the table. The sound it makes is quiet, but it silences the entire room. It is a sound of finality, a sound of truth. It is heavy. It is real. "The ghost," Elias says, his voice quiet but echoing with the force of his integrity, "is running in my workshop right now." He says nothing more. He does not need to. His presence, the tangible proof in his hand, is the final, unassailable piece of testimony. He is the moral weight that gives gravity to Alina's facts. The vote is immediate. It is unanimous. Marcus Thorne is removed from his position, effective immediately. Security is called to escort him from the building. The board, shaken but resolute, turns to Alina. She stands. "Project Nightingale is now the sole priority of Rostova Industries," she announces. "Mr. Vance will be heading our new Advanced Research and Development Division." Elias stands silently by the door. He has been vindicated, his reputation restored, but his expression is unchanged. He was never doing it for this. He was doing it for the work, for the promise. The vanquishing is complete. The room is filled with a new sense of purpose, a new, hopeful beginning. They leave the boardroom together. The hallway is long and silent, lined with portraits of past executives. They walk side by side, not speaking. The adrenaline of the confrontation begins to fade, leaving a quiet, shared exhaustion. The silence is not empty. It is filled with everything they have been through. The public dismissal, the rainy night in the workshop, the desperate race to finish the engine. A new dynamic has been forged between them, an equality born of mutual respect. When they reach the elevators, Elias stops. "I won't be taking the office on this floor," he says. Alina looks at him, unsurprised. "I didn't think you would." "The work is in the workshop," he says. "My home is there. Maya's school is there. That is my place." He is not rejecting her offer. He is affirming who he is. He is telling her that this victory will not change him. He will not be pulled into her world of glass towers and board meetings. "I know," she says. She makes a decision, a reciprocal move, a gesture to show that she understands, that she is willing to meet him where he is. A week later, a small construction crew begins work on the vacant, dilapidated building across the street from Elias's workshop. A simple, modern sign goes up. Rostova Industries, CEO Annex. She is not pulling him into her world. She is bringing her world to his. He is standing in his doorway watching the workers when she walks up. She is not wearing a suit. She is in jeans and a simple sweater. She looks younger, more real. "Too much?" she asks, gesturing to the building. "It's a start," he says. A hint of a smile plays on his lips. He holds out his hand. In his palm is a small, intricately machined key. It is made of the same gleaming alloy as the harmonizer. It is heavy and cool to the touch. "For the annex," he says. She takes it from him. Her fingers brush his. The brief contact sends a jolt through her, a warmth that has nothing to do with the metal. She knows it is a key to her new office, but it feels like a key to something more, a key to this new life they are building, a life where integrity and craftsmanship are valued above all else, a key to a future she is only just beginning to imagine. 3 months pass. The autumn air turns crisp. The Nightingale engine is a triumph. Its unveiling sends shockwaves through the industry. Rostova Industries is not just profitable, it is revolutionary. The CEO's annex across from the workshop is now Alina's primary office. She spends more time there in her simple, functional space than she does in the penthouse tower. She learns the rhythms of the neighborhood, the name of the man who runs the corner store, the time the school bus drops Maya off. Their lives have found a new normal, a quiet routine of shared work and easy companionship. They are a team. Professionally, they are a powerhouse. Personally, it is something quieter, something undefined. One Saturday afternoon, they are at the town's small autumn fair. The air smells of popcorn and fallen leaves. Maya, her face painted like a tiger, is trying to win a prize at a ring toss game. She is failing, her small brow furrowed in concentration. Elias stands behind her, offering quiet encouragement. Alina stands beside him, holding a half-eaten candy apple. On her last try, Maya's ring arcs through the air and, by some small miracle, lands perfectly around the neck of a glass bottle. She shrieks with delight. The man running the booth hands her a small, stuffed phoenix, its wings a riot of red and orange yarn. Maya runs to them, holding the prize aloft. "I did it!" Elias lifts her up, and she wraps her arms around his neck, the phoenix clutched tightly in her hand. Alina watches them, and for the first time in years, she laughs. A real, unburdened laugh. A woman from the town council passing by smiles at them. "You three make a lovely family," she says before moving on. The casual words hang in the air. Elias puts Maya down. He does not look at Alina. Alina takes a sudden, intense interest in her candy apple, but the word, family, has been spoken. It settles between them, a possibility as bright and hopeful as the stuffed phoenix in Maya's arms. That evening, after Maya is asleep, her prize tucked beside her on her pillow, they stand on the small wooden porch of his house. The night is clear and cold. A vast, velvet expanse of stars is spread out above them. The only sounds are the chirp of crickets and the distant hum of traffic on the highway. Alina pulls her jacket tighter around her shoulders. Elias stands beside her, his hands in his pockets. He does not touch her. She does not touch him. They stand shoulder to shoulder, a few inches of cool night air separating them. But the space feels charged, alive with unspoken understanding. They have faced down corporate dragons. They have brought a magnificent dream to life. They have found a way to piece together their broken worlds into something new, something stronger. She looks up at the stars. He looks out at the dark line of the trees. There are no declarations, no grand romantic gestures. There is only this, the quiet stillness, the shared space, the earned peace. It is enough. It is more than enough. It is a beginning, hanging there in the quiet dark, full of unspoken promise.